Hello YouTube, how is everyone doing? It's Professional here. So today I have a top 5 video for you guys on GT Online. We're 2 weeks into the new year, and this video is top 5 vehicles that everyone should own in 2024. So going into the new year, this is a video that I do every single year in which I talk about vehicles that are essential to own in GT Online. And a lot of these vehicles, you'll be surprised how many players actually don't use these vehicles and don't have these vehicles. Some of these vehicles you might consider common, others people don't use them as often, but I'll explain why I think they're so essential and why every single player should own these vehicles going into 2024. But anyways, before we get started here, I want to thank today's sponsor of this video. World of Warships is a free-to-play game that's available on PC, and new content is released every month, and this new content can be new ships, new countries, cosmetics, and even new ship classes. And because the game is constantly adding so much new content every month, you get fresh gameplay experiences when you play in its stunning 12v12 arenas. Additionally, some of its biggest updates are Godzilla vs. Kong and Transformers, and even more cool updates are coming along the way. World of Warships has top-notch graphics with more than 40 unique maps with dynamic weather, and these maps range from foresty areas to tropical islands all the way to the Arctic, and the waves and the ocean in this game is just so detailed that it's very hard to tell it apart with its effects from the real deal. There's multiple ship classes to choose from, and these ship classes can be everything from battleships, destroyers, aircraft carriers, cruisers, and even submarines. You can play as a lone wolf, or you can play co-op with your friends. You can verse AI as well. And did you know that the game is also available on consoles? It's available on Xbox One, PS4, PS5, and Xbox Series X. Download World of Warships using the link in the description of my video right down below, and when you register, use the promo code BRAVO to receive a huge starter pack, and this will give you 500 doubloons, 1.5 million credits, 7 days of premium account time, and a ship. Use the code BRAVO. Once again, use my link in the description down below to download World of Warships, use the code BRAVO to give yourselves 500 doubloons, 1.5 million credits, and 7 days of premium account time and a ship. Check out the game, it's a really awesome free-to-play game. So starting off at number 5, we have the tow truck, and I'm going to avoid really talking about vehicles from last year that I talked about my top 5 vehicles everyone should own in 2023. There's only one vehicle on this list that I did mention in the previous video, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. But anyways, tow truck here. The tow truck is a new vehicle that was added as part of the Chop Shop DLC. Now, the biggest downside of this is that you need to own a Chop Shop, so you're going to be set a few $1 million back. But get the strawberry one. That's personally the best location that I recommend because it's right in the lower middle part of the city, and it's right near a highway, which just makes it a very easy Chop Shop to get. And you're going to be getting a Chop Shop most likely anyways, because, you know, you want to play the new update, you know, you want to do the new car robberies that came out. So if you're getting the Chop Shop, and you're doing car robberies a lot, then you do want to get this tow truck. And there's two versions of the tow truck. There's a $1 million one, and there's a $650,000 beater one. There really is not any kind of difference that I've noticed from it, just the $1 million one looks a little bit better, so get whichever one that you want. I got the $1 million one, just because it looks a little nicer, but this is mostly cosmetics on that. Now, for the tow truck, the reason the tow truck is worth it, it's unfortunate you can't use it outside of missions. However, though, it's a very easy passive business that you can make money from. I made an entire guide on this. I will link that at the very end of the video that you can check it out. Breaks down the tow truck, everything in detail. But basically, a tow truck, you don't need to be in a CEO or MC to start it, and so you don't have to worry about raids ruining anything when you're doing the tow truck, but you basically just get into it, and it just starts it automatically. Now, here's the thing about the tow truck is if your vehicle spawns far away, like 3 miles or so, and you don't feel like, you know, driving all the way out there, what you can do is you can go to your preferences, you set your spawn location as salvage yard, find new invite-only session, and you can do that. There's no cooldown on that. So you just spawn right in, a few seconds later, try again, and you might have a, you know, much closer location, 1 or 2 miles drive instead of, you know, 3 or 4 miles drive. But anyways, you go and pick up vehicles, and this is very easy. It's very simple. It does not require any kind of effort. I think that there's only one mission where cops chase you, but it's a really rare mission, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but for the most part, it's very easy. You just pick up the vehicle, you just go from point A to point B, and that's it. That's all you have to do. You just drive it right back to the Chop Shop. You don't have to deal with any nonsense along the way. You don't have to really deal with anybody chasing you. And you can even damage the car along the way. So you don't have to worry about accidents also. Now, once you deliver the car, what's going to happen is the Chop Shop is going to take 48 minutes to basically process that car, take it apart, and it's going to sell it And I noticed the cars sell between $30,000 to $50,000. I haven't seen a car sell for $50,000, but I'm just using that as the estimate. I've seen cars sell for a little bit over $40,000, but most of the time it's in the late 30,000s that you're going to be selling the car for. So somewhere between $30,000 to $50,000 every 48 minutes. And the car base, you can have max of 2 cars at a time. And once one of the cars gets processed, it gets sold and you get your profit given to you, then you can just start up and source another car. But there's also another way to make money from this, and there's the safe passive business. Now, the safe passive business, what that basically does is every real life hour it's going to produce $300, which sounds like garbage, but that's if you're not doing anything. That's just by default. However, though, when you source your first car, it's going to be producing $7,200 every real life hour, and then it's going to be producing $12,000 for 2 cars every real life hour. And then once those cars are gone, and you're going to be sourcing your 3rd car in a very short period of time, you're going to be making $19,200 every real-life hour. And then if you source a 4th car in a short period of time, you'll be making $24,000 every real-life hour. Plus the amount that you're making, the $30,000 to $50,000 from the cars getting sourced every 48 minutes, you can make, somewhere between $84,000 to $100,000 per hour max on that. And think about it this way, is this business, Rockstar is going to make double money on this business in the future. So there's going to be double money events in the future for this business. We're going to be able to make plenty of money from it. Like I said, it's not something that's going to make you a multimillionaire, but it's a very simple and easy business to use. Doesn't really require much effort. You don't go and waste money on ammunition. You just go and pick up the vehicle. That's just pretty much it. And even if it's not double money, if you keep doing this tow truck repeatedly, you could probably easily make that $1 million back in a week. If you're just playing, this just for fun, this is something you want to do on the side while you're doing other activities. Maybe you're waiting for, a mission to pop up. Maybe you're, waiting in between a heist or something like that. It's some easy activity to do that you can mix things up and make some easy cash along the way too. At number 4, we have the weaponized Ignis. Now, this vehicle is expensive at $4,500,000, and the biggest downside of this is that this vehicle is exclusive to PS5 and Xbox Series X. It is not available on PC, Xbox One, and PS4. It's one of the How Special Works vehicles. But if you do own a next-gen version of GTA 5 on PS5 or Xbox Series X, you should really consider getting this vehicle. I wanted to include one supercar on this list, and I thought that I would put this one on here. This was a vehicle that I never got the chance to review. Last year, I talked about the Imani Tech vehicles, and I was thinking about a vehicle that's not necessarily Imani Tech, but would be very useful, and it's this vehicle. Now, this vehicle is extremely fast, especially with the upgrades. I was able to get all the way from the bottom of the map to the top of the map to Paleto Bay in a little bit over 3 minutes. That's how quick it was. That's about 8 miles in a little bit over 3 minutes. This thing is extremely fast. But what's most noticeable about this is the turret on top. It has a minigun. And this minigun is actually very effective. It has limited visibility on this gun. This gun has only a limited amount of targets that you can hit from the front. The gun cannot turn full 360. It can only shoot whatever's in the front. That's another downside of it, but the gun is very strong. As you can see in Headhunter, I'm able to blow up those armored vehicles in Headhunter just by shooting at them, shooting in their backs, able to blow them up pretty quickly. And I would like to thank my friend Rodriguez for helping me with this test here. On top of that, this vehicle also has temporary bulletproof windows. By temporary, I mean it can take a few shots and it will not kill you even if it's going at your head. But eventually, after a number of bullets, usually between 14 to 15 bullets, the windows will actually crack. This is on all sides and you will get shot out of it. But that can actually be very helpful, especially when you're clearing out the first set of AI. So clear out a bunch of AI with this thing, very helpful in that regard. But on top of that, it gets even better. This thing is not just very fast as the minigun, it also has a missile jammer, so nothing can lock onto this vehicle. And because of its speed, it's going to be very hard for other players to blow you up. They're going to have to manually aim. Now, I told my friend to actually try his best to actually kill me with an oppressor Mark II, and he started up behind me, and I want to thank my friend Sebi for helping with this, but he wasn't able to get me. I was able to easily outrun him, and then he just could not catch up to me. He couldn't. So somebody's going to have to be very precise, manually aim, which most griefers, they're pretty stupid. They don't know really how to aim without the lock-ons. And so if they actually have to manually aim at something, most of the time they're just going to back off and they're just going to run away. So that's just one thing. It's fast and it can't be locked onto. It's extremely helpful for getting around the map. Another downside is that it can only be blown up in one RPG. But because it's very fast, it's agile, and it has that minigun, I think it does make up for it. So if you're going to add a new supercar to your list and you don't have this one, add the weaponized Ignis to it. Next, we have the Avenger, which costs $3,450,000, and the Avenger is a pretty old vehicle on this list, since the Doomsday Heist in 2017, but the reason I include it on here is because since the San Andreas Mercenaries DLC, this thing has been updated, and a few things that this thing has been updated with is it now has a missile jammer, but the missile jammer is kind of useless because it can only be used in autopilot mode, and in autopilot mode, you're stationary and you're a big target, so don't get that. Instead, get the stealth mode. Stealth mode is when you put it in autopilot, you will be off the radar, and you can tell you're off the radar because the vehicle, your marker, your little arrow, will actually be blinking on there, so you will not appear on the radar. Additionally, this now has these new missions, and these are the San Andreas Mercenaries, Project Overthrow and LSA operations missions. Now, Project Overthrow, this is basically a story for the San Andreas Mercenaries DLC. This is something that you're really going to do one time, but the thing that you're going to do a lot, repeatedly, is the LSA operations, which are basically free mode missions. And these actually pay pretty good, and there's bonuses. Now, I would recommend if you're a solo player to do Surgical Strike and Whistleblower. Don't do direct action unless you have a second player with you. The reason you don't want to do direct action unless you have a second player is because direct action, the bonus objective oftentimes requires you to steal a second vehicle off of the aircraft carrier, and that means you're going to have to make 2 trips, which just makes the mission much longer. But now, these missions, you have the base pay, like, 55,000, 50,000, 51,000, but there's also bonus objectives, and these bonus objectives can be, like, for example, like in Surgical Strike, to drive in, like, a Merryweather outfit. It can be to, in Whistleblower, to hack a server. You can also have, like in Surgical Strike, maybe a bonus objective to take pictures of documents. In direct action might be to, like, steal a Raichu, for example. And these bonus objectives, you can always see what they are by, hitting right in the D-pad on a controller, and these will give you extra money in that mission. So these are actually a good source of money, and these these LSA operation missions, a lot of times these missions are also double money, and when they're double money, they're even worth, much more. You're going to be getting over $100,000 per mission, but normally, you're getting between $50,000 to $60,000 per each mission, which is still good. They take around between 10 to 15 minutes to complete. And additionally, what I want to say about the Avenger is the Avenger now has a thruster inside of it, and a lot of people, I know almost nobody uses this. I don't know why, but this is another vehicle that you can spawn in free mode, just like the Sparrow and the Buzzard also. But the difference is the Sparrow and the Thruster can be spawned without being in a CEO. So you could just go into your interaction menu, you go into the Avenger interaction menu, and you just spawn the Thruster right on the street. And this Thruster does not have weapons, which might be one of the reasons people don't use it. But it is a very fast way to get across the map. So if you want to get, like, an air vehicle, you got to get out of an area, you got to go to another place really quickly, this Thruster is perfect. You just spawn it, you get into it, and you just fly wherever you need to go. And if your Avenger is already in autopilot, you can use the thruster to just fly all the way up to it and get into it, just like that, easy. So the Avenger, definitely a vehicle that you want to get with the new San Andreas Mercenaries upgrades. Definitely very profitable vehicle, will make you a lot of money with these new San Andreas Mercenaries missions and the new thruster ability. Definitely take advantage of it. At number 2, we have the Acid Lab. Now, the Acid Lab, this is the only vehicle that I have on this list that I had on my video, top 5 vehicles everyone should own in 2023. And the reason that I'm bringing up this single vehicle again is because this is still a newer business. This is about 1 year old, and this is a business that I noticed a lot of people still don't have. It's because a lot of people have come back to GTA Online ever since GTA 6 has been announced, and they have missed out on this business. It's a great business that you have to add. Now, you unlock the Acid Lab, which is originally the Brigade 6x6, by completing the 6 First Dose story missions. You complete those, and you unlock the Acid Lab, and then you have to buy a $750,000 upgrade to upgrade it to the Acid Lab. Now, if you want the equipment upgrade, you have to complete 10 Dax Fooligan missions. Those missions, they have a massive cooldown on them, but once you complete all 10 of them, then you will be able to fully upgrade this thing and start making plenty of money from it. So, the reason that the Acid Lab is so great is because you can make a ton of money easy solo from this thing with very little to no effort. So once this thing is fully upgraded, it just takes 2 batches of full supplies. One batch of full supplies is $60,000, so about $120,000, and it's going to produce full product, full acid. Now, this acid can actually be sold for an extra 5% now. That was an extra thing that was added later on with the drip feed stuff. So you go into the menu, you go into the services tab, Acid Lab, and you just change the name, and that just increases its value by 5%. And you can also do an Acid Lab boost, and this boost will actually shortened the timer. With upgrades, it normally takes 4 hours to produce full acid, but if you're actually using the boost, it'll actually take 3 hours to produce, and you can do the acid lab boost once per day. So you can sell this at least 2 times a day if you got most of the day to play, no problem. And it's always one delivery vehicle, it's always one motorcycle. If you are selling with multiple people, then you're going to have multiple motorcycles, but if you're selling it by yourself, it's always going to be one delivery vehicle. And if you sell this in a full populated lobby like me, you get a 2.5% bonus per each player in the lobby. And this can stack up from 351,000, you can get all the way up to 527,000, like I can right here. And I activate Ghost Organization, so I just start making my deliveries. I activate Ghost Organization. It gives me a 3-minute window. Nobody can see me on the radar. I can make all these drops, make plenty of money from it. Great for that. It's a money-making machine, and it's just so simple, and it's just so easy, and you can pretty much start it from any street that you want. Additionally, this thing just has an amazing RAM on it. This thing can just push anything out of the way. Just completely obliterates anything in front of it. Reminds me a lot of the Phantom Wedge, but a bit fatter and wider. And additionally, this thing has insane armor. This thing can take 48 RPGs to blow up. But what I will also say about this, if you want to destroy this thing, the most effective way I've noticed, in my opinion, to destroy the Acid Lab is using a Kanjali. If you use a Kanjali, and you have to get near the person with the Acid Lab, but if you use the Kanjali, you will knock them down. So their Acid Lab will probably be knocked down to the side. They're going to have to flip the vehicle back over. You hit them 8 times with a Kanjali, this thing will get blown up. So that's, at least in my opinion, the fastest way that I've seen to destroy it. But get the Acid Lab, definitely get it, because I see so many players that still don't have this business, and it is one of the best businesses ever. I know that the Drug Wars update was not that strong of an update, but this business definitely makes that update worth it. And there's also one final thing that I want to mention with the Acid Lab, which is that you can lose any wanted level instantly just by going inside it. As you guys can see, I have 5 stars. I can lose it just by going inside the Acid Lab. I think it's because the Acid Lab counts as another instance, and so the police cannot follow you in there. Go right outside, no wanted level. And this works for the Acid Lab, the Avenger, the Terabyte, the MOC. So any kind of vehicle that has an interior that you spawn into, you can just lose cops instantly just by going inside of it. Before I reveal the #1 vehicle that I think everyone should own in 2024, I wanted to make a special mention. And that special mention is any kind of taxi vehicle. This can be the Broadway, the Eudora, the Arena taxi, or it can just be the standard taxi. And if you're going to use the Broadway or the Eudora, make sure you put the taxi livery paint on it. Now, I know some people are going to make fun of this, and I'm not trying to troll, but I'm genuinely being serious on this. This is why I didn't include the vehicle on, as a regular one, but a special mention instead, is the taxi doesn't make you that great money, but the thing about this is it's very simple money to make, and a lot of times there have been events where Rockstar actually makes it double money in the taxi, and even sometimes triple money on the taxi. And so when it's triple money in the taxi, you can make around $10,000, per each fare. So I would just have a taxi. Just own one of these taxis, use the Eudora or the Broadway. If you want to get the Arena taxi, you need to be a tier 25 to get that. Don't buy the regular taxi, but that is an option there. But get the Eudora or the Broadway. They're fun vehicles regardless. And you can also, make some money on the side here. If you get bored, you want to do other activities, like I said, there are going to be events in the future where it's going to be double money or triple money, and the taxi business is still relatively new to GTA Online, so do check it out. Very simple, just drive each person from point A to point B, and that's it. It does get boring, but it is a different change of pace from typical missions that you do. And the #1 vehicle that everyone should own in GTA Online in 2024, it is the Raichu jet. This jet came out with the San Andreas Mercenaries update, and this jet costs $6,855,000, but you can get it for a trade price of $5,141,000 after you complete the mission on Parade, which is one of the San Andreas Mercenaries story missions. This jet is arguably the best jet in the game. This is the fastest jet, the fastest aircraft in the game now. It can get from the bottom of the map to the top of the map in just 2 minutes. Just take a look at the speed on this thing. I want to thank my friends Chasaruni and Sebi for helping me with this speed test, but you guys see, I let them actually get a little bit of a head start, and I was able to easily pass the laser. And then my friend who's in the Pyro, which the Pyro is the fastest jet in the game before the Raichu came out, I was able to catch up to the Pyro. Now the Pyro and the Raichu are pretty close in speed, but the Raichu is a little bit faster. As you can see, over time I did catch up to the Pyro, and eventually I did pass it. This thing is also absolutely great in dogfights. Now, I'm not the greatest at dogfighting. I tried my absolute best, and I was dogfighting against my friend here, and we were both having a bit of a hard time getting behind each other. But one thing that I will say about the Raichu is that if you have a really good pilot in the Raichu and he's dogfighting somebody else, they're going to kill them most likely. Even if that aircraft has a little bit better handling like the Pyro, the reason is because the Raichu has explosive guns. So if you just hit another aircraft with that, they're pretty much disabled. They're pretty much done at that point. Just a few shots and they're done. And just take a look at this Duggan Shipments. Duggan Shipments, 10 targets to destroy in 10 minutes. I was able to easily do it. The Raichu can go into hover mode. When you need to be more precise, go into hover mode, use your explosive guns, missiles, homing missiles, destroy any target in your path. No problem, easy. But it doesn't end there. The Raichu also has a stealth mode. So you can activate stealth mode and you will not be detected on the radar. You cannot use guns on this, but this stealth mode also has a secret feature that a lot of people actually do not know about. And that secret feature that people don't know about is that when you actually have 5 stars and you activate stealth mode, so any stars over 2 stars, when you activate stealth mode, it'll go back to 2 stars, as you can see right here. A lot of people don't know that. It's the same thing in the Akula and also in the Stealth Annihilator. Any vehicle with stealth features, when you turn on stealth mode, no matter the wanted level, it will always drop down to 2 stars. So this is a vehicle that is going to help people for years to come. It is especially effective getting across the map, doing missions, good for travel missions, just in general, just a great, awesome, amazing jet. And if you do any hangar missions whatsoever, if you do hangar crates, this is an absolutely essential vehicle. I know it's an extremely expensive vehicle, but this is a vehicle that is going to help people for years to come, and it's definitely a worthy investment, 100%. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, do drop a like, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.